Welcome to the Soapdish, Young and Restless style. Hi, Luann.
Hi,
Perschau, my
Mark.
co-host.
Yes, hello, Mark. How are you doing today?
Good, good.
Good.
It's been a few weeks since you and I have chatted.
Again,
Young and
yes,
Restless.
and so much has happened during this time.
It has. It's been very suspenseful, Luann.
Yes, it
It's
has.
just a lot of excitement in
And
my life.
yes, and the big Gala is on now, so we'll have a lot to discuss with that.
Right. Yeah, it's getting pretty good. So when we last left off, Jack was proposing marriage to Diane. I was surprised that Kyle was actually supportive of this. I thought he was going to put
Yeah,
up a stink, but he didn't.
me too.
But everybody else on the show thinks he's nuts.
And they're just the looks they're giving him. And
Yeah.
Ashley is just besides
Oh,
herself. Yeah,
she is.
and
She hates
yeah,
Diane.
and Tracy's very supportive, just like she always is.
Tracy, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I like her. She's just such a gentle soul.
Yeah, she's an easygoing person, kind of wants to keep the peace with everyone.
Right, right.
But
All
no,
right. So Phyllis can. Oh, go ahead.
I was surprised too, though, how everyone did respond to this, and that Kyle was okay.
Right. All right. So Phyllis continues her rant about Diane.
Oh,
And I'm glad that we'll get into it in a minute here, but that they're finally kind of wrapping this thing up a little bit in terms of um, this storyline's gone on for a while.
it sure
The
has,
whole
and
the Diane thing. So
yeah, and the Diane Phyllis, because I just get really tired of listening to Phyllis rant and rave about Diane, and with everyone that she talks to, and how she's alienated her own son and daughter because she just couldn't give up on Diane, and I think
right,
people are just ignoring her because of that reason, because they just don't want to get into it with her about Diane.
right, yeah, because she is way, she's to the point of being obsessed. Now it's going to be interesting.
Yes,
We'll get into that here too yet, but kind of where this whole thing goes. But
right.
could prove out that Phyllis is actually right in the end. We'll have to see.
I know it would not surprise me.
Right. All right. So Jill Abbott is in town. Oh no, I was going to bring up Ashley because I want to get your
Yes,
thoughts on this. So Ashley's still hanging on with Tucker McCall. Uh,
I know.
what do
I
you
don't
think,
I
Luann?
don't
Do you
think
think is she falling for him? Is this all a charade?
I don't think she's falling for him. I think she's kind of using him to her advantage, and he's someone there because she knows how much he wants her, and it's kind of like putty in her hands. She can make him do things that she wants him to do. And when he left, she asked him to leave, and then when he wanted a kiss, and all of a sudden she grabbed him and kissed him. But I think Ashley will just she's teasing him. I think she's just kind of leading him on, but I don't think she's really interested in making it into anything more than what it is right now.
It was interesting here the other day when he brings up, well, why don't you just marry me? Kind of
I
just to
know.
stick it to Jack and Diane.
I know. I think that, he took her by surprise too when he said that, and I
Oh
was kind
yeah.
of surprised, and I thought I don't think she'll bite on it that fast.
No, I don't either. No, and I agree with you. I would lean more towards that she's playing him, you know.
I think she is too. Until
All right,
that
so
deal, if until he makes that deal with Devon, I think she's going to keep working on him.
yeah, I agree. So Jill Abbott's in town, and this storyline too has gone on for a while with the whole takeover
Yeah.
of
Yes.
Winter's business
And the
and
lawsuit.
the lawsuit and all that, and the stress that's created between him and Devon and Lily.
Yes.
And Jill's in town, and who should convince her to back off other than my man Victor Newman?
Victor Newman, he came to the rescue. He had a plan. He always has a
He did,
plan to make things work out. And Jill took it.
right? But there's always something in it in the end for Victor too. Yeah,
And and it was nice to see how it brought Phyllis decided to drop the lawsuit, and Lily and Devon, talked about working some things out. I don't think they're quite there yet, but because they truly do care about each other. But this really put a little rift between them.
Yeah. Pretty big rift. All right, so next let's talk about the big storyline, the Young and the Restless anniversary, 50-year anniversary. They're making that into a bicentennial for Genoa City, Wisconsin. So Nikki's coordinating this big gala that's going to take place. And this gala, I thought it was going to be like a one-day thing, Luann, and it's gone on for just about a week.
Yes. I know one evening is stretched out into a week, and it'll be almost 2 weeks now if it lasts through Friday this week. But yeah, I didn't expect that either. But there's lots of excitement. The plans sure changed for Nikki and Lauren with this big gala. It didn't go the way they were expecting it to.
Right. All right. So everybody from Genoa City is there. I always get a kick out of that. Is at the gala. Jeremy, Stark, and Phyllis Jeremy mainly, has been plotting some sort of episode that he's going to do at the gala. Like he has this master plan, and we don't, as viewers, we don't know what it is.
No,
but it kind of starts to reveal itself here, obviously, in the last couple of days.
Right, and excuse me, and I was surprised when. Phyllis was egging Diane on and said, well, let's talk about this up in my room. So I thought, is this when they're going to do it? And then they were both up in the room, and all of a sudden, she really provoked Diane, and Diane had lost a lot of patience with Phyllis, so she was choking her. And so when Kyle, Summer, and Jack popped in, I thought, this is what, maybe this is the plan, that they had. Well, that wasn't the plan either. And I thought, okay, so there's still more to this. And then when you saw Jeremy and Phyllis saying, he said to Phyllis, are you sure you're ready to go through with this? And she said yes, especially after she knew they were engaged. Jack and Diane. Or they were going to announce that they were going to announce their engagement at the party.
Every time I hear the name Jack and Diane, I think of John Mellencamp.
Yes.
A little ditty about Jack and Diane.
I do too. I agree.
All right. So the gala begins, and Phyllis, they're a ways into it. They're showing a lot of socializing going on there, et cetera. But then all of a sudden, Phyllis kind of starts going off. And
really going off. I mean, she major attacks Diane. And right after Jack announces to everybody that they're getting married. Yes.
Phyllis jumps in there and starts to, and I kind of was like everybody else. I figured it was part of their plan, but I also thought, well, maybe she's tuned up, because she likes her martinis. So I thought, well, maybe,
Yeah, who knows? But apparently she had, it looked like she had maybe too many of them.
Yeah. But so then she collapses. She goes down on the floor. They end up kind of checking for pulse, etc. And it doesn't sound, very good.
No.
Although what's funny is now shortly after the ambulance crew shows up, I kind of got a kick out of it because it's very soap opera-ish, because if you notice, Luann, they kind of stood around and talked about her. Nobody put oxygen on her. No. You know what I mean? I mean, if she's really in that bad a shape, I think they're going to be throwing oxygen on her.
Yeah, it's like, where's the doctor, and get him here, and throwing oxygen and getting her going. And here they're contemplating what occurred here, what happened.
What happened here? So anyway, so now they load her up in the ambulance, and they transport her. But then as time goes on, it's like the ambulance never shows up at the Genoa City Hospital.
I know, and everybody's just kind of sitting there visiting and talking about, it's like reminiscing about Phyllis and wondering what's going on and what's happening. And Chance, who's the only one from the police department there, is
evidently
Yeah, doesn't have all the information. He's waiting for updates.
Right. So then they kind of speculate, well, what's going on? Well, then Chance gets a call, and you could see that he was kind of disturbed by what he was learning. And so he ends up, when he gets off the phone, he ends up telling the partygoers that I think at that point they had found the ambulance, right? But they didn't know.
Correct.
They didn't have
Yeah.
all the answers, but
Right.
the ambulance
They
had
knew
crashed.
they knew that the ambulance had crashed, but they weren't sure about the details.
Right.
Yeah.
So then the next part is part of what I want to, I find this interesting because I have some thoughts on where this is going down the road. But
Okay.
so Chance interviews the ambulance driver, and he basically says, I tried to get him out. I tried to get I think it sounded like he went around to the driver's door, tried to get the driver of the ambulance out. And then he also said Phyllis was strapped into the gurney
Yes.
on the bed there in the ambulance and couldn't have made it out.
Because he said the
So-
fire was consuming the ambulance, and
Ambulance.
he said I couldn't save the driver, and he said, or Phyllis.
She couldn't have got out, kind of thing.
No.
I think. Yeah. So that tells you something right there. But
Right. The other part that I thought was interesting, that original ambulance driver that he was interviewing there, but he has also observed when they were loading Phyllis on the gurney that she had a ring in her hand, and he saw Diane take that ring and show it to Jack, and he did share that with Chance. So, but then the biggest shock though was when Jeremy is saying, well, let me know how my wife is doing. And everybody is saying, your wife, there's no way Phyllis would marry you. And then Summer and Daniel are saying, this is our mother. She would never marry you, and she's never said anything to us. So that one threw me also. And, he said, well, here's the marriage certificate. He held it up. Well, Daniel never even really looked at it. He just crumbled and tore it up. And it's like, well, that one took me by surprise. I don't know about you, but I wasn't expecting that part of it.
it did. No, I didn't expect that at all.
No, that. So they're what Jeremy and Phyllis have planned. It's more elaborate than I thought it was. They
Yeah,
put a lot of thought into
exactly.
this plan.
I agree.
I thought they were
Yeah,
going
I
to make it real
expected it.
easy.
Yeah, I thought they'd kidnap her from the party, or Diane, or something more along those lines. But okay, so now after he interviews the driver, Chance is kind of convinced in his own mind that Phyllis didn't survive the crash.
Right. And that's what he kind
So
of
that
said
he
in
breaks
today's
down.
episode.
Chance breaks that news to the partygoers, including Phyllis's kids, that she didn't make it.
Right.
A couple things. So let's move into predictions because I have a couple thoughts.
Okay. Why don't you
So
start with your predictions?
Okay, so
the only one I'll say
go ahead.
is, first I'll start with it, and then you elaborate from it. I don't believe Phyllis is dead, but I don't know how they're going to, their plan is pretty creative. But I'm very sure this is all part of the plan to make it look like she's dead. So you take it from there.
Okay. Yes, that's a good lead into what I was going to say too, because I think that the ambulance driver's in on it.
Oh,
The guy they interviewed that lived, supposedly. He made a slip up in there somewhere, and Chance called him on it. He said, well, didn't you say the other guy was driving? Because, and I can't even remember what it was, Luann, but he made some statement that would make you think that this guy was driving it, which is what I thought probably happened, because he would have, this guy, if he's in on the gig, then he would have driven the ambulance so he could crash it.
Correct.
So I do think this guy,
yes,
that this guy that's talking to Chance, the ambulance guy, I think he was driving. Because,
yes.
like I said, I think he's in on it with Jeremy.
So he's probably some cohort of Jeremy's from the past. Okay.
Exactly. That's my
Somehow
guess.
Got finagled in, applied to be an ambulance driver so he could work himself into, because he had to actually be an ambulance driver to, I would think.
Right.
Yeah.
Or he paid him off, or who knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that something along those lines happened. And I'm with you. I don't think Phyllis is dead. I think she's too big of a character for that they're not going to write her off.
Correct.
I can't see it. Would be weird.
No,
unless
I
she for
can't.
some reason wanted to get off the show.
No, and I don't get that impression at all. And I just have a feeling that, because the way she was kind of ending things with everyone before this whole gala event, she was making it so that she could cut ties with them a little bit or make them angry with her so that they would miss her, if something did happen to her.
Yeah, so that part's going to be interesting to see where that goes, because I'm with you. You made a statement already that you're not sure how they're going to work their way out of this with Phyllis's, with that storyline, and I agree with you. It's a little bit difficult. I suppose it could be the old empty ambulance trick, or the bodies were never found.
Yeah,
which happens in soaps quite often.
Yeah, right. What other prediction do you have?
Let's see. So I'm going to say I still think the storyline is going to go back to Victoria and drawing blank here.
For
the guy working for her. Nate. I still think something's going to happen there. But I also think now that her old husband's going to get brought back into the fold here. I think
JT.
Victoria's.
Yeah.
JT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elena is trying to locate him, and Audra.
Right. And Audra, yeah. So I do think that he's probably going to end up back in the picture. So I can kind of see both those things happening, and then Nate will end up being the big caregiver to take care of Victoria, and then those two are going to get involved. That's bottom line, and then they're going to get caught.
Yes. Oh, it's eventually at some point they will. The other relationship that I think might start up is, because it was interesting at the gala, Audra was, she found that phone on the bar, and it was Kyle's phone that I think Jeremy Stark had stolen from him, but it was sitting on the bar. And Ash, I think it was Ashley or Tracy, had said, well, I could give Kyle his phone back. And Audra said, no, I've always wanted to meet him. And so when she went over and gave Kyle his phone back, you could just see the kind of the flirting that was going on, and Summer kind of giving a look like, what, who's this and what's going on? So that might be
and Kyle I thought Kyle was really flirting with her too.
So that might be a little three, little thing going on too. A little romance. Because things have been pretty boring with Summer and Kyle, other than, the mothers giving them some headaches. Otherwise, it's been pretty boring with them.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, I agree.
Yeah, so
that's
it's
going to
my
be
only
interesting
prediction.
to see where they go.
Yeah. Hey, and and just to go back to the gala, it was fun to see some of the old characters that came back, like Leanne, the reporter. I had kind of forgot about her and how annoying she could be.
Yep, me too.
And then to see Gina come back, that was nice. And Danny, I mean, it was good to see him, but he sure, I don't know what they did with his hair and his makeup. It just looks kind of made up or fake. It's like, oh my God.
He's got too much. Here's what I would say, Luann. He's got too much hair for a man his age.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Right. The other
I always
thing
do think, though, that guys that are in their 60s and have really bushy hair, it just doesn't look great. It almost looks like you're wearing a wig or something.
I know.
I know they're not always, but
the
just
other
kind of looks like it.
Yeah, I know, it sure does. The other thing that let's see, what was I going to talk about? Trying to remember here. Well, one person that I did hear was going to come back, probably not for several months, is Lily's dad, Malcolm. And he's
Oh,
moved
really?
on to
Oh, yes, I did read that.
yeah, he is moving on to some other, or he's going to come back to visit too.
Because he's on CSI or one of those shows.
Yeah, like some police show.
On evening
And
show, yeah. Police show,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I
So, yes,
always
I did
enjoy.
read that. I saw that
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. I always enjoyed watching him when he was on Young and the Restless. When Drew was still around too. That was always good.
Yeah, that was a good storyline back in the day, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I agree with you, though. It was interesting for the gala and for the whole 50th thing here that they to bring a lot of those old people back. That's pretty cool. The
Yeah.
one guy that was noticeably absent, though, that I would like to have seen is Chief Williams.
Yes, that's what I was going to talk about. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, Paul Williams was gone, and it's interesting
Paul
how
Williams.
Called Cricket said, "Well, Paul went back to Portugal to be with Lucy and his daughter, and because he missed, they were just here for a short visit, and he wanted more time with them. So that's the easy way for them to just kind of say, well, he's out of the picture. But now it's
Right.
kind of like the way Cricket was making it sound is, maybe there's an end to their relationship too. I don't know, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't
that's
know.
what
They kind of leave us hanging
yeah,
on that one.
yeah, and I think for Paul's character is just something just must have really gone down with him and the writers and producers or directors, whatever, that he's not coming back. And a lot of fans have been asking for him to return or at least give him a decent send off, but
Yeah, and I read it was a couple years ago, and he was kind of first off the show that they talked about. I suppose Bradley Bell, or the Bells, they decided not to renew his contract. And yes, I agree with you. I had read that it's the same thing, that a lot of people are like, well, yeah, but he's too strong of a character. You can't.
I know.
You
But they
can't yeah.
they just wrote him right
So
off, though. He was never even really mentioned in any conversations over the years either. So
right,
yeah,
cutthroat business.
yeah, yeah, it is. And I thought it was nice how they, for their 50th anniversary, CBS did a primetime special about the Young and the Restless last Monday night, and that was interesting. Just seeing the interviews and watching some of the past scenes and how they looked when they were younger. I thought it was just really interesting for that.
Yeah, yeah, been on a long time.
All right. Yes, very long.
All right,
Man.
well, let's close it out, shall we?
Okay.
Until we dish again.
I'll look forward to
Keep it
dishing with you
sudsy.
again, Mark.
You too, Luann.
Bye.